Oh, but sit down, there's more. I'm on a roll tonight. Let's talk about the Trump administration placing the images of black men on the White House social media pages. So the Trump administration has just crossed another line, posting the mugshots of arrested black men on the official White House social media pages. Not one white man, not one non-black face. Did you know about that? Let's be clear. This isn't about transparency or public safety. This is about controlling the narrative. And I've been talking about that this week on social media, how they are allowing the media to be controlled about what you see, controlled about what you hear about, controlled about what you learn. We're literally having to say things like, what was that word that I've been hearing, or that phrase? Music festival? What about that one? Or what about the purses? You couldn't even say the other word again because you just may get suppressed. So let's be clear. It's about stoking fear and feeding into the age-old racist stereotype that black people are inherently criminal or dangerous. Because remember, this is the same guy that took out a 4-page ad on 4 innocent young black men. Yeah, that same guy. So this isn't a new tactic, folks. We already know that. This is not new. We're used to this. We already know how this is going to go. And here's the thing. We're going to have to watch very carefully how the media plays this out, because guess what? If you think he's not controlling the media, think again. I guarantee you this entire conversation that we're having right now won't even get 3,000 views. It won't even get 300. Because my information and other people who provide news and journalistic commentary and content is being suppressed. All right, let's get back into it, shall we? Hang on just a second. So here's what they're doing. This is not about the concept that this is new, because we all know that it is not. This is about continuing to work on the continuous stereotype of the black male in this country, right? It's used to justify over-policing. It's also used to talk about mass incarceration, because we already know what that's all about, right? You remember the 13th Amendment, and you do know what that's about, right? Oh, okay, just wanted to make sure. And that violent targeting of our communities for decades, that ain't new either. There's more. So by pushing these images out to the public on the White House page, that must make it real, right? That's got to make it real. Here's what's happening. They're shaping the perception and telling the nation who to fear. They want old white ladies to continue to clutch their purses in public and lock their doors, justifying future crackdowns. That's what they're doing too. I want you to understand that this is actually planting the seed that an increase in police and military presence in black neighborhoods is necessary. And they're distracting you guys from the systemic failure that we're all witnessing right now. You ever thought about that? You ever thought about what that means? So they're masking policy failures with the mess that we are seeing right now. Washington, D.C.'s crime rate is the lowest it's been in almost 30 years. It's down another 26%. The data and the numbers don't lie. But here's the issue. History is absolutely repeating itself. So this mirrors the exact same propaganda campaigns used to target Latinx and immigrant communities. And we're seeing that in real time, where they're just going around and they're just picking up folks. Doesn't matter who it is, we just go pick them up. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah. Yeah, now the focus is on black communities. And y'all, we have said that on social media. We have continued to say that on social media. From the beginning, we knew that our communities were next. Now, here's the end game. It's going to be expanded racial profiling. We already see that, okay? Higher rates of police violence, without a word being said, and further erosion of our civil rights. You ever thought about that too? Because it's coming. Here's the reason why you should be alarmed and you should be hot as fish grease. Here's what starts with selective mugshot posts that don't end there. Here's the issue. You're going to continue to see it. How dare you place their faces on there? But then this is the same administration that has somebody working their social media, and they're thinking that it's funny to go ahead and put images and video of people who are literally flipping out over what's happening with this current administration. So they're going to normalize racial bias. But We're not new to that, right? Desensitize the public. That's already been done, right? To disproportionate arrests and police violence. But see, that's already been done. That's already been done. Paving the way for harsher laws targeting specific communities under the guise of quote unquote safety. Because, you know, we've seen it before. Now, what we can't do is ignore what's happening, okay? We do understand that the shift was always there. They're just bringing it to the forefront for everybody to see more and more and more. But again, y'all, this is not new information to this community, my black community, my black brothers and sisters. We already know what's up. Here's our call to action. Transparency. Full racial breakdowns of arrests, not selective publicity. Accountability. Demand answers from elected officials who remain silent. And we're seeing a whole hell of a lot of that, aren't we? And here's something else. Community defense. Support local advocacy groups documenting racial profiling and fighting back in courts and councils. Listen, racial profiling and police violence are about to spike, not just in DC. They're just making it quote unquote okay to do it. You should be made aware now if you have not already been. And here's the thing, if you have young black men in your home, if you have black men that you love, that you honor, that you respect, just know that we need to have those conversations with our young black men again. Mothers, daughters, sisters, grandmothers, aunties, just know. And it's not just about the black man, it's about the black folks, period. This is just a wake-up call. I will say this. Black folks, this is what you voted for. For those that were excited about this. You see how the press and you just get up in front of everybody and you just tell people what you want them to know and what to believe. And we believe it. How you feel about that? Because the next wave of policies are not done coming down. And you should be absolutely furious. But the question is, what you gonna do?
Then Washington, D.C. must be swept clean. I believe entire neighborhoods probably need to be emptied, need to be bulldozed. I believe that there are places that are so crime-ridden and so infested that you just need to, you're just going to have to crack down. You're going to have to do the job, and you're going to have to get the crime out of Washington. That's my personal experience. Don't believe the bullshit that you hear online. What happened to D.C., especially during the civil rights period, was that protesters that were bussed up here stayed here. The city was burned to the ground. This happened during massive riots throughout the 60s and 70s. Mass swaths of the city were torched and were never really rebuilt. It is one of the worst, most racist narco states and welfare states imaginable. In that neighborhood that I would walk every single day, racial epithets were screamed at us. Rocks were thrown at us because we were white people. This city is a sunken place. It is an unsafe place. I mean, if that's what happens to me, imagine what happens to somebody who's visiting here from a foreign country. Right? It's totally and wholly unsafe and a scar on the face of our country. And it must be healed. And President Trump is going about that heavy work.
I don't like being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty and disgusting this once beautiful Capitol was, with graffiti all over the walls. It's another part of it, by the way, because we're talking about safety, but we're also talking about beautification. We have the most beautiful, potentially, Capitol in the world. We always had. But people come from Iowa, they come from Indiana, they come and then they get mugged. Not going to happen. Keep coming, because by the time you get your trip set, it's going to be safe again, and it's going to be clean very quickly. We're going to replace the medians that are falling down all over the roads. We're going to replace the potholes. We're going to put a nice new coat of asphalt over the top. And we're getting rid of the slums, too. We have slums here. We're getting rid of them. I know it's not politically correct. You'll say, oh, so terrible. No, we're getting rid of the slums where they live. Caravans of mass youth rampage through city streets at all times of the day. There are ATVs, motorbikes. They travel pretty well. Entire neighborhoods are now under emergency curfews. Just this past weekend, gunfire went through, and you saw that, the Navy Yard. I saw it this morning. They saw that they fought back against, they fight back until you knock the hell out of them, because it's the only language they understand. But they fought back against law enforcement last night. And they're not going to be fighting back long, because I've instructed them and told them whatever happens, they love to spit in the face of the police. As the police are standing up there in uniform, they're standing and they're screaming at them an inch away from their face. And then they start spitting in their face. And I said, you tell them, you spit and we hit. And they can hit real hard. We have other cities also that are bad, very bad. You look at Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is. And we have other cities that are very bad. New York has a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone. We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to lose our cities over this. And this will go further. We're starting very strongly with D.C., and we're going to clean it up real quick, very quickly, as they say. We're going to have a tremendous success in what we're doing. Other cities are hopefully watching this. They're all watching, just like everyone's watching here. They're all watching, and maybe they'll clean up. We'll never be an asset to society. I don't care. I know we all want to say, oh, they're going to be rehabbed. It's not going to be rehabbed. But some of these people, a lot of them are homegrown criminals. And these are bad people. These are rough people. And this is just a list of some of the people that were given to me today that were criminals removed from the D.C. streets this weekend. They were rough and tough. But we're rougher and tougher. Look at these people here. Nothing, they're not going to be your local school teacher. Look at this guy. He has killed people numerous times. They're not going to be an asset. They will never be an asset to society. I don't care. I know we all want to say, oh, they're going to be rehabbed. It's not going to be rehabbed.
And here you see President Trump walking up to the podium. Let's listen.
I've been up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this. I think we need a ballroom, and that's happening.